Thank you all for coming here. This is such an auspicious day. The weather did not cooperate with us, but still, I'm very thankful for all of you who could make it to us. Pranam Maharaj. And before I go into the choir program, let me quickly mention one thing that's about our e-magazine. We have a wonderful e-magazine, and the site is located on our website. Just on our website, on the very top right end, that's the link to the e-magazine. Initially started for the kids only. It has everything. It has everything. It includes contributions for everybody, not just the kids, adults too. They have written about their pilgrimage to different places, different RKNs, as well as other things. And the kids have wonderful pictures, writings. I think you all will very much enjoy reading it, and we welcome everybody to contribute. Anybody who has made a pilgrimage, visited any holy site, or have pictures of anything, please send it to us. Shubhashish with Sanjeev Banu has worked really hard to keep it updated, which is done, I think, every quarterly. Please do it, but most importantly, please share the link with your friends and particularly with your family back in India. I am sure the grandparents will be thrilled to see how our kids and you guys also are doing, progressing in our spiritual pathway, being involved with it. So with that, please go and visit yourself because there is very few traffic there, which is defeats the point. So please do that. Now I will go into a choir program. Today is Swamiji's birthday, so of course our program is on the messages and work of Swamiji. The kids will narrate and we will sing. But I think if you all listen to the narration, we will all get messages that is very relevant to us and can be important resources in navigating our life, particularly in this time of the everything that's going on around the world. Thank you.
Spreading a message of Vedanta. Spreading message of Vedanta to the West and creating a bond between the East and the West. Foundation of RKM. During his wandering years, Swami Vivekananda had experienced the sufferings, the problems faced by common people. Their poverty, lack of self-respect, and education pained him. He wanted to help these poor people restore their dignity and self-respect. At Kanyakumarika, the tip of the Indian peninsula that marks the confluence of the Bay of Bengal, Arabian Sea, and the Indian Ocean, Swami Vivekananda swam to a rock in the water, sat on it, and meditated for 3 days and nights for his country. When he returned to shore on the fourth day, he had a vision of one India and came up with a solution.
In a letter, Vivekananda recalled, "We are so many Shannasis wandering about and teaching the people metaphysics. It is all madness. Did not our Gurudeva used to say, an empty stomach is no good for religion? That those poor people are leading the life of brutes. It is simply due to ignorance. We have for all ages been sucking their blood and trampling them underfoot." He decided to dedicate his life to the welfare and uplifting of the common masses of India. But he needed money for that, so he decided to go to America to raise his fund for his project. He reasoned, as our country is poor in social virtues, so is this country lacking spirituality. I give them spirituality and they give me money. With that goal, he sailed for America to give a speech at the Parliament of Religion held in Chicago. His very first address at the Parliament of Religion created a stir across America and catapulted him to fame. Initially, he faced great difficulties, but his message eventually received enthusiastic reception across America and attracted many followers. In America, his stay in America extended, as did his initial goals of coming to America. In 1894, he established the Vedanta Society in New York, the very first of its kind in the world. Eventually, many other such centers were created.
His reputation was not restricted to America alone. He got invitations to speak in England and Europe too. He sailed for London from New York in 1895, and after a short halt at Paris, reached London. After 4 months, he returned to America and again visited London in September 1896, lecturing in England, France, and Italy en route before boarding a ship in Naples. Thus, from 1893 to 1896, the Swami engaged himself in laying the firm foundation of Vedanta in America and England, where he was able to establish many Vedanta centers. Like in America, England gave him very valuable friends and disciples like Margaret Noble, later known as Sister Nivedita, Henrietta Muller, and Mr. Goodman. All these disciples followed the Swami to India and extended help in his mission.
Thus, Swami Vivekananda's travel to the West was instrumental in not only spreading the messages of Vedanta to the West, but also in creating a spiritual bond between the East and the West. This tradition continues even today. Just like this one, numerous Vedanta centers have been established throughout the world. Worldwide, there are 274 branch centers, of which 67 are outside India, located in 24 different countries. Furthermore, there are 53 sub-centers like this one that are functioning under these centers that help to propagate the message and practices of Vedanta as taught by Thakur, Ma, and Swamiji amongst the newer generations and help people advance in their spiritual journey.
Swamiji's success in the West helped him in India too. Before he came to the West, many disagreed with his thoughts or methods. Many even ridiculed him during the initial periods of struggle in America. But as the West accepted his leadership in spirituality, he gained the support of many people in India too. When he returned to India, he was given a king's reception. He was invited to give innumerable speeches throughout India. People flocked to see these meetings. With the help of this support and enthusiasm and resources, he gathered from the West on May 1st, 1897. He founded the Ramakrishna Mission, RKM, headquartered in Belur. The mission's activities cover the following areas: education, healthcare, cultural activities, rural upliftment, tribal welfare, and disaster relief. Today, there are centers of RKM throughout India that are doing great work in lifting the lives of the poor and underprivileged people. Thus, establishment of RKM was true fulfillment of Swamiji's lifelong dream and resolve of upliftment and welfare of his country.
Vivekananda was convinced that at the root of all evils in India is poverty and miserable conditions of the poor, and that in turn is rooted in the darkness of ignorance and lack of education. His statements like, "I do not believe in a religion or God that cannot wipe away the widow's tears or bring a piece of bread to the orphan's mouth," show not only his concern for the marginalized, but also brings in the religious basis for both service and development programs. Swami Vivekananda believed in raising the poor and ignorant masses not through just donation, but wanted them to be empowered and made capable of building their own destinies. He wanted the haves in society to create an enabling environment wherein the poor could raise themselves up without affecting their self-esteem and dignity. He was deeply pained by the social and economic inequalities that were prevailing. He considered that the great national sin was the neglect of the masses, and that was the one of the causes of India's downfall. He wanted these masses to be well educated, well fed, and well cared for.
In a letter, he wrote, "The only service to be done for our lower classes is to give them education to develop their lost individuality. Give them ideas, that is the only help they require, and then the rest must follow as the effect." At the same time, he realized that any economic growth had to be inclusive without hurting either the rich or the poor. He writes, "It's not by bringing down the rich but by pushing up the poor we can hope to bring in equality." Apart from being intensely practical, it provides a space for all to participate in a growing economy.
Swami Vivekananda took the path that would cause least unrest in the society, the path which he chose to call the line of least resistance. He didn't want to disturb the equilibrium that we had, but gave it a new inspiration. His message, help and not fight, assimilation and not destruction, harmony and peace and not dissension, reflect these ideas. He argued that if we have to appeal to the soul of the nation, we have to drink deep from the fountain of the past and then proceed to build the future. This heritage from the past, he pointed out, was essentially a religious heritage. By religion, he meant the internal life giving principles as taught by the Shruti/Vedanta, and not the mass of superstition and local customs, which are mere accretions, requiring a weeding out with a strong hand. However, he clearly was against all forms of superstitions and evils of priestcraft. In his own words, the poor are to be fed, education is to be spread, and the evil of priestcraft is to be removed. No priestcraft, no social tyranny, more bread, more opportunity for everybody. This is to be brought about slowly and by only insisting on our religion and giving liberty to society.
Youth development. Swamiji realized that it is very hard for adults to give up lifelong habits and practices or stand up against what they have been told all their lives. But youth is that wonderful time in life when energy is limitless, human creativity is at its best, and the never say die spirit is at its peak. Youth is also an impressionable age wherein we try to and model our life against that of a role model or icon. So, Swami Vivekananda wanted to recruit the youth of India in his project for nation building. He mentioned repeatedly, "My faith is in the younger generation." His clarion call to the youth was to focus their collective energies towards nation building.
He made He made character as the underlying foundation for all the greatest undertakings, combined science with religion, which would lead to harmonious development of all sides in a person. On 19th November 1894, he wrote from New York to his disciple Alasinga Perumal, "Nothing else is necessary but these love, sincerity, and patience. What is life but growth, expansion's love? Therefore, all love is life. It is the only law of life. All selfishness is death, and that is truth here and hereafter. It is life to do good, it is death not to do good to others. Feel, my children, feel. Feel for the poor and ignorant, the downtrodden. Feel till the heart stops and the brain reels, and you think you will go mad, then pour your soul out at the feet of the Lord. And then will come power, help, and indomitable energy. Struggle, Struggle was my motto for the last 10 years. Struggle, still say I. It is love that pays. It is character that cleaves its way through stubborn walls of difficulties.
He said, have fire and spread all over. Work, work. Be the servant while leading. Be unselfish and never listen to one friend in private discussing another. Have infinite patience and success is yours. Now take care of this. Do not try to boss others. This is what kills all organizations. Work, work. For to work only for the good of others is life. I want there should be no hypocrisy, no shilly-shally, no esoteric blackguardism, no secret handbook, nothing should be done in a corner, no special favoritism of the master, no master at that, even onward my brave boys, money or no money, men or no men, have you love, have you God, onward and onward, my brave boys, money or no money, men or no men. Have you love? Have you God? Onward and forward to breach, you are irresistible.
He believed that the brain and muscles must develop simultaneously. Iron nerves with an intelligent brain, and the whole world is at one's feet. Therefore, he greatly emphasized on physical strength and activities for the youth to become physically strong as well. Because of his work with youth, in 1984, India government marked his birthday January 12th as a National Youth Day.
Jodao, chor jodao, beat jodao, no bino jibono dao, ora ora bita dao, dipo jiduna dao, chor jodao, beat jodao, no bino jibono dao, ora ora bita dao, dipo jiduna dao.
advancement of science and technology. Swami Vivekananda's vision went beyond propagating Hinduism to the West. He was keen that India, though religious, also understands the use of science and technology. He was concerned that Indians were steeped in ignorance and superstition, and this came in the way of both physical and spiritual progress. He constantly urged his devotees to not accept anything without taking it through the test of experimentation. He used to goad his disciples to carry a magic lantern, projector of those days, and go from village to village teaching science to our rural brethren.
'Very few also know of his contribution in setting up the Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore. Swami Vivekananda met Sir Jamshedji Tata met for the first time in 1893 when they were traveling together in a ship that sailed from Yokohama to Vancouver. Both these extraordinary Indians loved their country and were very concerned about the welfare of their countrymen. Swamiji asked Sir Jamshedji to consider creating an institution that will build a scientific and technological human resource pool for the country. Though they never met after that journey, these words struck a chord in Jamshedji's heart. Swamiji passed away in July 1902. Jamshedji died in 1904, unaware that his vision would just be realized 5 years later. The Indian Institute of Science is a gift from the Tatas. Was born in 1909 and is today a pride of our nation.
5. Service to others. One of the greatest messages of Swami Vivekananda is his call for service to others. Swami Vivekananda had a simple formula. He laid down in clear and simple terms the 3 levels of service that one can do. The first is that of the physical service, taking care of the human body and undertaking activities to remove human physical suffering. Running hospitals, orphanages, old age homes, and various programs that could generate income would qualify for this level. The next higher level is that of intellectual service. Running schools, colleges, and awareness and empowerment programs would operate at this level. And finally, for the evolved, he prescribed the highest level of spiritual service.
Swami Vivekananda always spoke about the need to serve. He knew that in the ideal of service we could find solutions for many of our national problems. In his message lies a very practical way of going about service. He talks about first building ourselves, not just physically, but also intellectually and emotionally, so that we are prepared for the challenges that lie ahead of us. He wanted our outlook to grow and progress centrifugally, beginning first with ourselves and gradually encompassing those immediately around us, like our neighbors, our town, and so on. As we grow in our abilities and capabilities, so should our sphere of service grow and expand till one embraced entire humanity itself. Each one needs to undertake activities based on one's own ability. Being a good and honest technocrat, scientist, engineer, and a doctor itself is a good beginning. We could then expand to include more and more lives that we touch in our everyday existence.
He also warns us of the pitfalls undertaking such service activities. He understood human ego and its extraordinary potential for creating problems. His advice was, do not stand on a pedestal and say, here, my poor man, take my 5 cents. Feel privileged that the poor man is there to give you an opportunity to serve him. He continues, all the hospitals you build, all the schools you construct can all get washed away in one flood or crumble to dust in one earthquake. So do not think too much of yourself. What matters is not what you do, but how you do it. Service without motive is one of the highest forms of spiritual activity, and always remember to work with the selflessness and dispassion that such a work demands.
He wanted any act of service to be filled with respect and dignity for both the participants, the so called provider and the recipient. He wanted us to undertake these activities not merely for the betterment of society, but for our own evolution and growth. And he so beautifully advised us to serve God and man. He said, after so much tapasya, I have known that the highest truth is this. He is present in every being. These are all the manifold forms of Him. There is no other God to seek for. He alone is worshiping God who serves all beings.
In our world, in which every action is undertaken with an undercurrent of reciprocity, we need to be mindful of not expecting anything in return for any act of service that we do. This can be done only when we undertake such action with the understanding that we are not the doer and that we are only an instrument through which service is getting done. Instead of feeling like a provider, we need to constantly tell ourselves that we serve because it is in our nature to do so. We should not seek neither recognition nor affirmation for our acts. Let us all live and grow with these messages from Swamiji and continue to carry on with his work.
স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলব না, স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা ভুলব না, স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলব না, স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা ভুলব না। ভারত ভূমি পূর্ণভূমি ভুলব না, ত্যাগ সেবা মন্ত্র মোদের ভুলব না। ভারত ভূমি পূর্ণভূমি ভুলব না, ত্যাগ সেবা মন্ত্র মোদের ভুলব না। বাঁচব নিজের দ্বারে বাঁচব না, ভালোবাসা মন্ত্র মোদের ভুলব না। স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলব না, স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা ভুলব না। তোমার আমার সবারই দেশ ভুলব না, নতুন ভারত গড়ব মোরা থামব না। তোমার আমার সবারই দেশ ভুলব না, নতুন ভারত গড়ব মোরা থামব না। স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলব না, স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা ভুলব না। স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলব না, ভুলব না, ভুলব না। স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলব না, স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা ভুলব না। ঝঞ্ঝা আসুক ভুলব না, আমার মাঝে শক্তি অসীম ভুলব না। আসুক ঝঞ্ঝা মনটা শুকনো না আমার মাঝে শক্তি আসিন ভুলবো না স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলবো না ভুলবো না ভুলবো না স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলবো না স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা ভুলবো না আমার সুখে সুখে আমার ভুলবো না বিশ্বভুবন আমার আপন ভুলবো না আমার সুখে সুখে আমার ভুলবো না বিশ্বভুবন আমার আপন ভুলবো না স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলবো না স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলবো না ভুলবো না ভুলবো না স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলবো না স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা ভুলবো না স্বামীজির মন্ত্র মোরা ভুলবো না স্বামীজির স্বপ্ন মোরা ভুলবো না
That concludes our program for today.
Thank you, Doladi and the VVCC choir for the wonderful program on this auspicious day. It's Swami. Now we are ready to go into the next part of the program. Swami Bhaswatanandaji Maharaj will be talking about Swamiji for about 15 to 20 minutes. And afterwards there will be a brief Q&A. And before I introduce Swami, there is a small, announcement I just wanted to make. If you can keep silence, please. As you all know by this time, we are working on a capital project to build a monk's residence just adjacent to our center. It started about 2 years ago, and the progress has been very slow, and we really need the importance, and also we want all of you to think how we will be blessed in having a monk's residence here and a situation like today's bad weather, right? So Swamis, when they come here, they have a place to stay, and we have a place for us to interact with them on a continuous basis. And you all know that we have at least one Swami visiting us a month, and at least we have 2-3 programs where we have more Swamis. More specifically, during annual day, we get 4 to 5 Swamis be with us. So it's I think it's important that is we keep this project going, and we try to have it ready as soon as possible. As we progress, the progress has been extremely slow, right? That is without the support of all of you, the devotees, it's very difficult for this project to materialize. So we all would request you to come forward, participate generously, donate. So, the project estimation is roughly about 550,000, and we need that money to start even based on the current circumstances. And you have the printed form available, pledge or donation or whatever the way you would like to do. It's there available in the front desk. You can do whatever the thing, fill and put it give it in the front desk, or it's available online. The website, if you go, there is a link, and also a link is provided for communication. The emails, you continue to grow and have a very best divine atmosphere here with the visit of several Swamis, both from inside US and also from outside internationally. So thank you for your support on this, and we look forward to your contributions on this area. Any questions, please reach out at front desk. The next coming about Swami Bhaswatanandaji Maharaj, whom we have today with us, is bad weather. And Swami is not new to us. He has visited us at least 2 times in the past. About a brief intro about Swami. Swami is a monk of the Ramakrishna order, and he is currently serving as the assistant minister in our Washington DC Vedanta Center since May 2022. Swami took his mantra diksha from Swami Bhaswatanandaji Maharaj in 1980, joined the Bangalore Ramakrishna Math in 1982. Swami took his brahmacharya from Swami Bhaswatanandaji Maharaj in 1990, and his sannyasa in 1993 from same Swami Bhaswatanandaji Maharaj. Prior to coming to DC Center in 2022, Swami served in India, in Bangalore, Belur Math, Mayavati, and in Germany. Swami served in various capacities, including as an editorial board member of the Prabuddha Bharata periodical publication of the Ramakrishna Mission and Math. So with this very brief introduction, I would like to welcome Swami on behalf of ABCC to give his talk about Swamiji on this noble day. Thank you all. Welcome, sir.
Everybody. Good afternoon. The original plan for this afternoon was to have an hour-long QA session. Then I began to feel that it would be more appropriate for us to devote at least several minutes to reflecting on the great Swami Vivekananda's thoughts and teachings, since it is his birthday that we are observing here today, after all. And then spend the rest of the time discussing any questions that anybody may have. So I'd like to say a few words about what Swami Vivekananda taught. Swami Vivekananda is one of those rare personalities in whom we can confidently say the universal spirit has found a perfect expression. He interpreted the fundamental spiritual truths in modern terms in a way that enlightens us on the perennial problems of human existence. His special contribution to the present age is a universal message, a message that aims to bring about the moral and spiritual uplift of all people, and which is helpful to our harmonious and holistic lives, regardless of any differences whatsoever. In his scheme of life, there's no inherent conflict between reason and faith, between science and spirituality, between action and contemplation, and between social and monastic ideals. He truly built a bridge between the ancient and the modern, between the sacred and the secular. And by doing that, he has fulfilled a vital need of our times for a universal spiritual message and a comprehensive view of life. He was perfectly qualified for this divine mission, the mission of reconstruction of humanity on a spiritual foundation. This is the reason why there has been such enthusiastic response for his life-giving message. When we study Swami Vivekananda's works, we find that his teaching is in fact a unified statement that offers clues to the solution of our basic problems in both individual and collective life. There are about a dozen ideas that form his main teaching, and in this short talk, I would like to highlight just a couple of them. First of all, after his study of human society, Swamiji arrived at the conclusion that the final solution of human problems rests on the moral and spiritual lives of individuals and not on anything else. He was convinced that no amount of force or government or legislation could change the conditions of a people. Only ethical and spiritual culture had the power to change wrong human tendencies for the better. The soul itself should change for the better. And only that can cure the evils of life. The soul itself should change. This is where spirituality goes to the root of the matter. If that is right, all will be right. The basis of all social systems rests upon the goodness of people. No nation is great because its parliament enacted this or that law, but because its people are good. So Swamiji directed his attention to the individual. He wanted to make the individual spiritually strong, to teach people that they were divine. He called upon people to become aware of their divinity within themselves, because he believed that this was really the ideal, whether it is obvious or not so obvious. This was the ideal of every religion. This was the ideal of every spiritual tradition. He famously said, "It's a man-making religion that we want. It's man-making theories that we want. It is man-making education that we want. And here is the test of truth. Anything that makes you weak, physically, intellectually, or spiritually, anything that makes you weak, reject as poison. There is no life in it. It cannot be true. Truth is strengthening. Truth is purity. Truth is all knowledge. So truth must be strengthening, must be enlightening, must be invigorating. Even to hear these words is so invigorating. Now, if you think of it, if moral and spiritual strength are the answer to all human problems, as Swamiji believed, it follows as a natural corollary that the goal of civilization should also be the same as that of spirituality. what is civilization? Civilization or true civilization, according to Swamiji, means the power of lifting the animal man out of his sense life by giving him a vision, a foretaste of higher levels of existence. No race can be called civilized just because it has conquered the external world and increased the luxuries of material life. Because it is possible to accomplish all this and still be a brute, still not understand that the highest type of civilization is found only in those who have learned to conquer their lower self. In Swamiji's life, this universe is simply a gymnasium where our soul gets some exercise. And after the workout, we become gods. So the value of everything is to be decided by how far it is a manifestation of divinity. Civilization is nothing but the expression of that divinity in the human being, after all. The more spiritually advanced a society is, the more civilized it is. So, just as in this age we have become intensely practical, we also need to become deeply spiritual. A union of these two aspects was Swamiji's ideal of a great civilization. But the question is, how to create this ideal type of human race? What do we really need in order to convert this ideal into reality? Swamiji held that the most important thing was faith in oneself. Faith in oneself is the secret of a person's growth. That is the source of all strength. Human development means the unfoldment of our potential capacities. So self-belief is of the greatest help to us. Swamiji observed that this faith in oneself was the most potent motive power in the lives of all great people. They believed that they could become great, and they became great. So the presence or absence of this self-belief makes all the difference between one person and another. Swamiji stressed this idea of faith in oneself so much that he went to the extent of saying he is an atheist who doesn't believe in himself. The old religion said that he was an atheist who did not believe in God. The new religion says that he is the atheist who doesn't believe in himself. But now, let us not misunderstand these things. Faith in oneself, as Swamiji meant it, is not the ordinary, self-centered, egotistic self-belief. Swamiji was only preaching Vedanta in modern idiom. And Vedanta is the doctrine of oneness. So faith in oneself implies faith in all. Love for oneself means love for all, love for everything, because we are all one. Swamiji believed that it was this higher faith that we are all divine beings. It was this higher faith that would make our world better. We all have our faults and weaknesses, of course, but Swamiji constantly reminds us of our real nature. He says that that is the only way to rise above the faults, the only way to cure our weaknesses. He was so sure of that. He even said You cannot wash dirt standing in the dirt. Now, for over a century, we have been dreaming of grand things like interreligious harmony and the idea of a universal religion. But before these things can become social realities, we have to first take care of the basic moral aspect of our own personal lives. Swamiji's teachings provide Vedantic solutions to our questions even here. According to Vedanta, the spiritual oneness of humankind is the foundation of morality. A vision of this unity is the way to universal love and happiness. Swamiji explains, as rational people, we want to know the why of things. And in matters of morality and ethics, it is difficult for us to accept do's and don'ts laid down by other human beings, however great or supposedly divine they may be. That is to say, an authoritarian ethics derived from mere human sanction is no longer acceptable to us. For ethical and moral codes to be binding, we want something more. We want some enduring, constant, unchanging principle of truth as the sanction of ethics. Swamiji points out that that eternal sanction is to be found in the one infinite reality which exists in each and all of us. This oneness of the infinite, non-dual self is the eternal sanction and the rationale for all our ethics, morality, and spirituality. So the entire subject of ethics and morality can be summarized in one short, simple line. Selfishness is immorality, selflessness is morality. We are asked to love one another. But why? What for? The explanation of that doctrine is here. Why should I love everyone? Because they and I are one. There is this oneness, this solidarity of the whole world. From the lowest human being to the highest, we all have different bodies, but the same soul. When we have this idea, when we feel it, and when we realize it, then fear ceases. Because there is nothing other than me, there is no fear. Then comes real love, then comes real happiness. That universal sympathy, love, and joy is unchanging, and it lifts us above everything. The whole cause of the problem of morality, Swamiji says, is dualism. The idea that we are separate from one another, separate from God. But as soon as we realize that I am the self of the universe, we are free. Fear vanishes and love stands in its place. Now, having said that, Swamiji still recognized that each individual has to move towards the highest ideal, call it God, call it truth, call it reality, from where they are and along their own lines of development. Take people where they stand and from there give them a lift. That is what he said. In any society, people are not all of the same temperament or capacity or ability. They have to have different ideals and we have no right to judge any ideal. Let everyone do the best they can for realizing their own ideal. It is not right that I should be judged by your standard or you by mine. As Swamiji said, the apple tree should be judged by the stand. The apple tree should not be judged by the standard of the oak, nor the oak by that of the apple. To judge the apple tree, you must take the apple standard, and for the oak, its own standard. At the same time, Swamiji also knew that unity in variety is the plan of creation. However much people may vary individually, there is unity in the background. Our our different individual characters are only natural variations in creation. So it would be wrong for us to judge others by our standard or place our ideal before everybody else. That only creates an unnatural struggle, and the result is that good people, even good people, begin to think badly about themselves and are hindered from becoming pure and spiritual. We ought to encourage everybody in their struggle to live up to their own highest ideal and try at the same time to make that ideal as near to the truth as possible. Swamiji said, through high philosophy or low, through the most exalted mythology or the grossest, through the most refined ritualism or arrant fetishism, every soul, every sect, every religion, consciously or unconsciously, is struggling upward towards God. Every vision of truth that man has is a vision of him and of none else. So, this is the universal message of spirituality, which is grounded in morality. That Swamiji taught as the universal message that applies to all human beings, regardless of any superficial differences. Thank you. Now, you don't have to, I try to make it easy for you. You don't have to feel compelled to ask questions unless you have something to ask. Please feel free. Or we can just take a break and get on with the other thing.
Maybe I have one.
Yes, sir.
Is it one? You very well summarized your speech that
I hope so.
stability, spirituality, the speech you have, the famous podcast you have. I had this question for a long time when I was doing BC also to ask you, how can I practice this detachment from our daily, the work and all this thing what we have? How simple we can make it to be realistic in that?
No, you don't even have to think of detachment. As Swamiji said, even the grossest type of human being has a conscience. When anybody does something that amounts to disobedience to this voice of conscience, he knows it. They know it, and they still transgress it. If we don't do that, every time we resist a temptation to do something that is not worthy of a human being, every successful attempt gives us strength. And every time we give in to such temptations, we become weak. If we just remember this and also keep in mind what the great Buddha said, be good and do good. This is all of spirituality. If we start with this, your own mind will teach you what to do. You don't have to intellectualize things too much. We all know what is good and what is bad. If we just remember what our parents taught us when we were kids, that is enough for spiritual life. The rest will come of itself. For nearly 5 years now, I'm just reading the life stories and reminiscences of these great direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. In their eyes, spiritual life was so easy, so natural. Just day before yesterday, Swami Bhaswatanandaji, Sri Ramakrishna's biographer, he says, try to understand these things with your heart, not with your head. Yeah, in many ways, the less we listen to lectures, the less we read, the better for us. We know enough. We know enough. We know more than enough. That is what I've begun to really believe. We know what it is to be good. That's all. We don't need more. Okay. We can call it a day.
We are told that the concentration, focus and concentration. But I don't know. I'm talking to myself as I'm getting older and older. It's hard to concentrate and hard to meditate and all this. Why so? I thought it would be a little better since I've been for a long time, but it got worse.
Everything will become easy if we develop a personal relationship with our spiritual ideals, what we call Ishtadevata. Brahmanandaji says, grease your spiritual practice with a little love. See, we are too occupied with the method. That is why method becomes mechanical. But when you were raising your little children, it was 10 times harder. But because there was this love for your children, the hardest things became easy. That is why it is very important to develop, to establish a personal relationship with God. Either think of yourself as God's child or God's servant, whichever. I think that is what we lack. We are too much in the method. You see, so many reading those life stories and reminiscences. Such stalwarts like Brahmanandaji and including Holy Mother. When somebody asks her about the technique of japa, she says, my child, after all, what do you mean by japa? You're talking to God. That's all. But of course, to have this kind of natural relationship, there must be some amount of purity. The purer we are, the more natural our approach to God will be. So that purity we can only acquire through by leading a very strict moral life. Yeah. We should always be prayerful and seek God's guidance and protection so that we have the strength not to compromise on, He gives us the strength not to compromise on matters that affect our moral principles. Yeah, if we do that much, I think God will take care of the rest. This is what I sincerely believe.
My name is Deetal. I had a question. So I know you said that you live a moral life and you do good. Everyone knows what's good inside. We, as spiritual people, we try to go that spiritual route. But then what if you see someone, who's obviously doing wrong things, and the more you know that you're, the right path to do, like you said, don't judge other people. How do you I mean, I know there's like energy, like if you're around people that are, doing the wrong thing, does that affect you? And how do you, I mean, we're not in a position to affect them, right? So how do you?
That position to affect others with with the strength of your spirituality comes much later. Just now, let us admit that we ourselves are still weak there. Let us protect ourselves, and instead of correcting ourselves, maybe we can, if they are our friends and if they are open to these things, we could tell them 1 or 2 times. After that, let us accept our limits and let us pray for them. But without feeling any kind of superiority, we have to be very careful about that, because we think we are better. I'm holier than thou. The moment we have this, the other soul can sense this. You may not say it, but people will sense this and they will avoid you. And your words will have no effect on them. Just now, we don't have to worry about other people. You know what I'm trying to say. Let us take care of ourselves. And let us pray for them.
So do you surround yourself with that? Because what if you're constantly, family or friends, you're like constantly around people like that, then you
That is something we have to deal with. We have to deal with. All my life, I've lived in ashrams, and I've seen not 1 or 2. I have seen dozens of people who have lived in the world, leading impeccable lives. They are not sadhus. They are married people. But you can see spirituality shining in their faces. How does this happen? They also live in the same world. How did they do it? You read the stories of the Ramayana and Mahabharata. You will pay for it very heavily. But if you are able to do that, you become extremely strong. There's a price to pay. Yes, you can't have a nice social life and still be spiritual. For some time, you can try to balance, but after threshold, if you want to devote yourself to spiritual life, it will exact its full price, and you must be ready to pay for it. If you stick to dharma, friends, property, everything, relations, everything. Yeah, that is what we read in the stories. And there are countless people who paid that price. That is why we remember them. Yeah, it is. I know it is easy for me to stand here and speak like this, but I realize the difficulty. I can only say God has been most merciful to me. You see,
Society, and then you just cannot ignore other things and
yeah,
lead your life. Right now, I'm 83. I can do that. It doesn't matter because the people like next, the younger people, they have their own life and their children and this and that.
no, unless they want to be spiritual, let us not worry about them. Speaking about you and me, I can only repeat Sri Ramakrishna's words. You know, in what a dire situation this Mahendranath Gupta was when he came to Sri Ramakrishna. He was on the verge of taking his own life. And one day, he said there are only problems in his family. Only problems, problems, problems. And he says, yeah, I can't get on with anybody in my family. What am I to do? What to do if one's own spouse stands in the way of my spiritual progress? Then Sri Ramakrishna says, then give up your spouse. Because, and he says, then M feels very bad. Yes, if my wife says that she will commit suicide if I don't pay enough attention to her, let her commit suicide. These thoughts are going on in his mind, and Sri Ramakrishna says softly, but I tell you something. If you are sincere in your prayers, if you are sincere, God will set everything right. That's all. We don't have to know more. We don't have to know more. And there's a reason why Sri Ramakrishna said that in such strong language. According to Vedanta, according to all spiritual traditions, it is only in a human birth that we can actualize the ideal of God realization. And God realization and the attainment of ultimate liberation is the only special aim of human life. And because it is so, that as a human being, that ought to be our topmost priority. And everything has to be sacrificed for that. There, Sri Ramakrishna did not make any compromise. It is hard. It is hard. Yeah. No, but Ashokanandaji says, don't complain too much. Do your best. What more do you want? Your soul, I'm only reproducing Ashokanandaji's words as much as I can remember. Don't complain too much. What more do you want? Your soul has turned toward the infinite. What more do you want? Just look at the majority of people outside. Aren't you infinitely better? Really? After 80 years, you say this? Can't believe it.
Because my mind is how to realize that saw Mataji before all the sadhana, and then he did that. And mother said that I can give you mukti anytime, but for bhakti you have to earn it. So what was the need of Thakur to do all the sadhana? Is it for us? He already realized
Whatever.
he had the bhakti.
Now, see, the case of incarnations of God is entirely different. Whatever they do, whatever they even think, is for the welfare of humanity. They have full faith that they're not even like these great saints. Human beings become saints. But God comes down as an incarnation. It's a completely different thing. Yeah. Whatever he did, there are different minds that find solutions to their problems in the life and actions of an incarnation of God. Not only Sri Ramakrishna, Krishna, Buddha, Jesus, Ramakrishna, it applies to all of them.
If you don't have any questions, thank you, Maharaj, for being with us today and spending the most.
Thank you all for having me here. I've done what I could to justify your expectations. I know. I thought it was
To have you today.
I thank everybody here for organizing this, and especially to my host. Yes, he is treating me like a prince.
Yeah.
No, but all sadhus that come here, they talk about how they are being showered with affection. What more does a sadhu want? Yeah. That's all. I'm equally blessed.
Yeah. We are so blessed. We are so blessed, and
say I don't want to how to say quibble, but blessings always come from the divine. We can only wish each other well, and I do this sincerely. Thank you all.
thank you. We will have a short break, and 4:30 our aarti starts sharp. Okay, please come back, and there will be tea in the downstairs. You can take, relax a little bit.